IVM.
Hi, everybody. On behalf of the team at IVM Podcast, I have a request for you. We'd really appreciate it if you could go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and fill out our survey over there. It's going to take a few minutes to do, but it gives us some really interesting information that we can take to advertisers and brands about who's listening to the network. If you're comfortable giving us your email address, while you're filling out the survey, we'll enter you into a random drawing where we'll be sending out a bunch of IVM swag to some of our listeners. Last year, we sent out coffee mugs, and this year we're hoping to send out much cooler stuff. That's ivmpodcast.com/survey. We really appreciate your help.
Hi.
Hi. So, how's it going?
How's it going?
We're almost at the end of this year.
The fag end of this year.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. Although it's like it's good. It's good. It's going great. I have to say, I'm loving my new job because
I'm glad.
Yeah, because it's new. Emphasis on because it's new.
And what about? Has it given you a sense of routine and stuff like that? Has it...
all of it? Yeah. It's amazing. I love sitting the whole day because I think I spent all of my quarantine and literally I keep joking about this, but like an old age home person, I wouldn't get out of bed at all. I was just lying down all the time. So just to sit up the entire day, do something, work, creatively juice my brain a little. It's fun. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And are you looking forward to anything in the coming year? Like
nothing.
Yeah, because the great thing is, I don't know how many people set goals for themselves, not goals as in resolutions, but just loose goals and stuff.
Have you set any so far already?
No, so that's the thing. I don't have to because my goals remain the same. Nothing has moved
my
in
goal
my life.
Is microscopic for the new year. I am going to switch from white rice to brown rice. That's my goal. That's my aim. That's it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So
I've been eating inhuman amounts of white rice.
Okay.
And I want to change that. Yeah.
But I wanted to. Let's just segue into the topic that we wanted to talk about, and
Sure.
I'll tell you why I thought of this topic was because this year we've talked about a lot of heavy stuff. We've talked about a lot of intense, we've had a lot of intense conversations and deep stuff.
Absolutely.
I thought for a change, let's just be a little frivolous, and hence I really wanted to talk about. And again, I know this episode might be a little limiting in terms of its topic, but gay stereotypes, and I understand that we are not being inclusive of, let's say, lesbians or trans people, but this is just.
Can we start with that stereotype though? Gay guys hate lesbians and lesbians hate gay guys. Is that
sure? No, so I think the way, let's talk about those, all these stereotypes that do exist, and then let's talk about our takes on them. If at all there is any
emphasis on our takes.
Yeah. So gay men hating lesbians and lesbians hating gay men. I think here's the thing. I think there definitely are a lot of that I have seen a lot of instances of friction between posses of gay men and sort of groups of lesbian women, because both sides are very formidable in their kind of opinions, and the twain shall not meet. I do see some truth to where it stems from, but I hate what I don't like is this stereotype to be blown as a rule, almost because we are family at the end of the day. So that's my take on it. Have you ever butted heads as a gay man with?
Before I get into it, I have to put a little at the top, a little footnote here. But I believe no stereotype in life is true. Yeah, because life will always surprise you, and literally none of them. But some things happen more than other things, and that's what we are discussing today.
Yeah.
And that's why they become stereotypes, I guess.
Mm.
And the first one, I've always been scared of lesbians. I don't know why. Some of my best friends are lesbians, and I find myself a little scared of them. I haven't been able to deduce why. My personal understanding of it was because of my mommy issues. I generally have some type of distance that I maintain from very personal relationships with women overall, lesbian or straight. But I don't know. I always tend to be a little, oh my God, did I offend her? Oh my God, did I this? I tend to do that a lot with lesbians, in my head at least. So much so that even right now when I say it so casually with lesbians, I feel like that's very insensitive in some way.
But yeah, like big disclaimer, we are not here to kind of, fan stereotypes. We just having we don't want to do that. It's just a casual conversation that we are having. So don't come at us.
Feel free to correct us.
Yeah, like don't come at us. Like, so yeah. So, I mean, sure, I get that. But another stereotype I really want to talk about is the fact that gay men can't drive.
Oh my God, I joke about it all the time because I don't drive and I have no inclination to drive.
So here's the thing. I know how to drive, but I'm a terrible driver. I do cycle like a fucking devil though. Like I am a devil on the street.
Seriously?
Yeah. But cars, oh my God. That's like I do feel like that. I don't remember where I'd seen that meme. Gay men can do two of the three things: be good at math, be good at cooking, or no, there was something else. So basically, there were two out of three. One was obviously driving, one was cooking, and then there was something else, like which.
Fashion. Let's just go to fashion, which we
we will come to that eventually. But that was true. I totally thought yes, and all the openly gay men I could think of really just stick to two of the boxes, and it was like I don't want to reinforce this narrative, but it was true. So
it is. So many, my best friend, he ate my head. He's a fantastic driver in terms of he loves cars. He loves driving. He's straight. But there were so many times where he offered to, hey man, why don't I teach you how to drive? And I would just have why would I ever drive?
I mean, I honestly
it's not like swimming, where someday you might need to save your life.
That Phoebe episode where she's been taught to cycle. It's like, what situation will I need? Where will someone come at me and say, put a gun to my head and say drive, otherwise I'll shoot you?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? I mean, otherwise Ubers are here to stay. So
it's a global thing now. Like buying cars is on their way out. Everybody's switching to
exactly. I'm like so
it's a good thing we don't drive.
It's a good thing.
For the environment. And
100%.
Why?
Yeah. Okay. Queer men and alcohol, like not like obsession with alcohol and the type of alcohol. Is there a particular, like there's this whole stereotype about a lot of gay men really, really prefer white spirits rather than, scotch or whatever.
This is the first time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Definitely, yes. And I'll tell you where it comes. I've kind of dissected it. I'll tell you where it comes from after you give me your take on it.
I don't have one. This is the first time I'm hearing it. When you said it, I was like, wait, is it because the drink is transparent and we don't be transparent our entire life?
No. That it's not so convoluted. I genuinely think that vodka has always been a cocktail, like a mixer drink and a cocktail drink. And because it's been a cocktail drink, it's the anti-scotch. And when it comes to scotch or whiskey, it's an essentially male drink. So whatever, and this is something I have faced, and I know a lot of, because, I also work with, I know a lot of people who work with a lot of alcohol brands. a lot of men and women kind of so there have been two sort of subliminal movements, so to say. One was a conscious move away from accepting whiskey or scotch as or rum as your drink, because it was like because it was considered the straight man's drink. So I consciously disavow it. And the other, especially when it came to women, was the idea that this was such a straight man's drink. I'm going to break that stereotype. So I've seen a lot of women who subliminally, subconsciously, they are Scotch women now. Like they're totally Scotch women now, because so basically there are these two thought sort of schools of thought. But I do know a lot of queer men particularly gravitate towards white spirits like bubblies and fizzies and vodka and stuff like
Starbucks.
that.
I don't know why I threw that in. It's such a thing. I know Starbucks is an everyone thing, but I feel like every homo I know, especially on Instagram.
Let's come to Starbucks later, because we're talking about alcohol. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where it sort of came from, essentially. I mean, but do you know a lot of queer men who are into Scotch, whiskey?
The queer men I know, just most of them just drink to blackout, so they don't give a shit about what they're drinking most of the time. So and I don't drink, first of all. So
I presume that's the 21, 22-year-old, like younger sort of.
Yeah, the pre-gaming type.
Yeah, because but
I like how you explain that stereotype with a stereotype person.
No, I'll tell you why. Oh my God, no!
It was intelligent. It was intelligent.
No, but so what I mean is that by the time, like, I didn't have a.
I'm agreeing with you. It is the younger lot, at least, because 2-3 of them have barfed in my house, and I'm like, get the fuck out right now.
Hear me out and let me talk. God, it's what I mean is that by the time, like 23-ish, you haven't really formed your taste buds. Like, you haven't really found your alcohol. Like, I didn't know my alcohol till I was like 25, and till I actually started having a taste for, like, I knew a little bit here and there, but I didn't exactly have a taste for it. So I guess I get the younger crowd sort of, just having any alcohol. But I'm saying anyone above, let's say 25-ish, what have you noticed? What have you observed?
Again, I don't know if it's the circles I hang out in, but most of my friends drink gin, and they love gin. And
see, white spirit.
ऐसा वैसा जिन नहीं वो भी.
The quality is not in question. I'm saying the kind of, like, white spirits. That's what I was saying. So what?
Yeah, again, it's something I don't even try to observe, because I'm one of the. You're talking to someone who's attempted to drink all his life, and it's a taste I've never acquired. I don't like the way I feel when I'm drunk. I just don't enjoy it at all. So to me, beer, anything, I'm like, nope. I'll very rarely have a shot if I want to get drunk. But even that, you should see my face. All my friends joke about this face I make when I'm drinking alcohol, just to keep them company. And it's like, I hate my face when I'm drinking alcohol. I just constantly look so fucking disgusted and like with every sip.
Have you not found any alcohol that tastes good, or is it about...
I do like a drink. I like 2 drinks. One is only if my friend makes it, which is a gin and tonic. But if he makes it, I don't want anybody else to make it for me. I'll have it because he does the right amount of like tonic and the right amount of soda and the right this. And I do enjoy a Bloody Mary only because it's spicy and you can't taste the alcohol a lot in it.
Yeah.
So I like a Bloody Mary because, again, I like a little spice. It's more like a cold juice than... So I will indulge in a Bloody Mary, but again, it has to be made by a specific person in my life. Otherwise, I won't have it. I tried at restaurants sometimes and it's disgusting. They throw fucking curry patta and... Yeah. I went to... what's that place? The Thangabali? Yeah?
Yeah.
They threw my fucking tempering as in mustard seeds and curry patta to try to make it like, bastardized
some classics
Indian.
should just be
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, some classics should just be classics. Like,
yeah.
I mean, sure,
And I
I'm
think,
all for...
actually, I know why I like it. I love the salt rim. I tend to like drinks with anything with the salt rim because I just like salt. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's that. Should we go from alcohol to drugs? Like gay boys are more likely to do drugs than regular people. See, that's the classic example of why this is such a tough topic for me to talk about, because so much. I once read somewhere that stereotypes are actually a primal way, as in we are primates, right? So stereotypes are not something you can control sometimes because it's a way to negate things that might happen to you in the future. So, for example, if you came across a lion in the jungle, even though the lion's not attacked you, your first reaction would be to fucking shit your pants because, oh my God, I'm about to die. I get it. But there are certain stereotypes, like on a very primal level, they are hardwired into you. The laws of attraction basically even fall under that, So this is a tough topic for me to talk on, but coming back to drugs, I don't know. Sometimes I feel it's a rampant epidemic within the community. So it must be true that maybe we are more, and we've discussed this in our addiction, or we did do a topic on, we did do an episode on that. And I remember back then we had touched upon how, because we lack certain kinds of love or certain kinds of nurturing when we grow up, we tend to fill those voids with substances and alcohol and all those things. So maybe that's why I feel we might be more promiscuous.
I do feel like, again, promiscuous is again.
Sorry, promiscuous is the wrong word. That is another one we'll come to.
Yeah.
But what I meant was we are more prone to indulge.
So I do feel like there is a lot of, again, I don't mean that gay men or the queer community invites more drug use. I think, like you said, I think being prone to drug use, it is an epidemic, and hence saying prone to is extremely important because it's an evil force out there. Absolutely. And we as a community, we have those voices, like you were saying, and it's so easily available in our circles, for example, in the dance clubs, in the nightclubs, in places like that, and it's so easily, it's far more easily available, especially if I'm talking about, metros and stuff. So, I think...
Dude, and this, can I give you the perfect example? Unfortunately, and in a way, fortunately, we are having this conversation on a day. I'll give you an example from my life. I actually had a straight friend who was last year heavily, like he had to go to rehab into coke, He was fucking messed up with coke and MDMA. And I had a gay friend who was really into MDMA. Both got their shit together, both got their act together and cleaned up, right? Cleaned for a year and all. Today, I had a conversation with one of my friends who he just slipped because he was on Grindr and someone very close to him happened to, like, because on Grindr it said hi fun. And you know what I mean? Like, I felt the pitfalls are everywhere. Like, you have to be hyper aware as a gay man sometimes because the pitfalls are way more for us to fall into. This is entirely based on these two examples that I really spent some time thinking today that, hey, why did why has he made it so long, and why did this friend falter so easily? Of course, they are entirely different people. Their experiences are entirely different. Their relationship with those drugs are entirely different. I get that. But I just couldn't help but think that, holy shit. So in a way, it was Grindr and because there are so many hyphen, options, that the probability of you being near... See, for me, it was easy. When I gave up shit, I just deleted my fucking dealer's numbers. I just cleaned up my act, and in a way, if I see a hyphen profile, I just immediately block them. Not that I was that down or that bad down that road that I had to take those extreme measures. I can see a hyphen account and not interact with it, without wanting to like cop out and do drugs or whatever. But I just feel like someone who might not be that strong or someone who might not have figured it out, or who's not over it, it's a trap. It can be a trap, constant trap that you keep falling into.
Yeah.
So in that sense, okay. But let's get back to frivolous. This is a little heavy again in that context, but
okay.
It's such a big part of the community. So I thought
it is. Yeah. Okay. This is a funny one. Gay men walk really fast. I walk really fast. This is something I used to fight this stereotype, but then my friends kind of brought it into notice that you're just like insanely fast when you walk. Like you're just, because I like, you know, they pointed out that I strut. I don't walk. So it's kind of true in my case, but what do you?
I was a fast walker all my life. So yeah, in a way I get it, because again, it was something to a point where other people would bring that up to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you walk so fast. Calm down. Like that was the thing. But the last couple of years, I don't walk. So I don't know. I'm on a seesaw on this one.
But like, what about people you know? Like,
what about people I know? No, it's not something I've visibly noticed. I notice more like, okay, the sitting in the chair. Okay, let's just, you know.
Oh my God. Like, that is so fucking true.
Exactly.
100% believe that stereotype.
I feel like we feel confined with anything with armrests, so we try to sit however we can. Those things. Like if it's without armrest, then khalas. Then I've resumed that.
No, I don't know. I don't know whether it's that, or is it that most queer men are in a talk show of their own, and hence we sit the way we would sit in a talk show. It happens to me at least.
Yeah.
Like my legs are all over the place when I'm sitting. Like it's not proper. It's just like quite obscene.
No, it's just, the thing is, when you're growing up and you do it, people do tend to, especially in the 80s or 90s, you know, people would say, why do you sit like that? You know, or, you know, like there's it's like a knee on knee, but then straight guys sit with their ankle on the knee, and like, I don't know, a lot of times I would get that why do you sit like that? But the thing is, I also would constantly get that I am the most straight gay I know, you know, like a lot of my friends could not, for the long, again, I've said this before, a lot of my close friends constantly told me, fuck, you're such a fucking homo, dude. But a lot of times, gay guys have a tough time who don't know me that well, or who meet me, or like I encounter in some way. They have a tough time believing, like, oh, I did not know. I thought you were straight, you know? So that happens to me a lot. So my hand gestures, the flailing of the wrist, you know, those kind of things, I feel like I'm extremely gay in that sense. But like, it's only because other people have brought it to my attention. Otherwise, I feel like that's how I am. It's not something I actively decided to sit like that or do that with my hands. And but
okay. Okay, so there's another stereotype. Let's talk about pop culture a little bit, and then we can go into a quick break.
Sure.
These pop divas like Madonna, Lady Gaga.
Got it. Yeah.
I don't know whether it's so I know that it's a stereotype, definitely.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of gay men who are scared to say they don't like Lady Gaga.
That's because of stan culture.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned, and because I work in social media and in music social media a lot of times, I have noticed that it's very important online to wear what you like as a badge of honor, and kind of, which is stupid, right? Because for me, if you ask me, I like a song because it's good, whether it came from Lady Gaga or Meghan Trainor or whoever, or Lata Mangeshkar. I don't give a shit. If a song is good, it's good, you know. If it's a banger, if it's like got a bop, it's got a vibe, it's a song, you know. But I see a lot of stan culture, which is like
blind devotion.
Yeah, which involves kind of, a lot of it also involves like the Swifties and the monsters will of always like, mine is better. There's always a comparison, and I don't get that, because it's such a waste of time.
See, I feel like somewhere down the line you have to I personally, there are. So I have this obsession with a couple of personalities, but I also separate the personalities from their art. So for me, for example, I'm a massive Lady Gaga fan.
Okay.
Massive. But I know which songs of hers are good and then which songs of hers are mediocre. I'm still a massive fan, like a stan. But I would critically, like I did not like Joanne. I did not like the album. So so for me it's, but that
get ready to get crucified.
Yeah, but that didn't make me that didn't make me
in
hate
some
her.
Lady Gaga way, some Lady Gaga Christian way. I don't know. Oh my God.
So but that didn't make me like her. Like Kylie Minogue, I have been a massive fan of Kylie Minogue's.
Yeah.
But
so that happens to me a lot when someone tells me this whole Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift. No, my first thing is, yaar, hamare zamane mein to alag hi tha. Because that time, it was a form of expression, to like Madonna, to like Lady Gaga, I'm saying Madonna, Donna Summers, all back then, it was just, that was a release, a way to the lyrics, the kind of music. Like today, if you see the second
But it still is.
It still is. But you know what I mean? Back then, when you had to hide a lot or you had to conceal a lot, you vicariously lived through this art form. You get what I mean? And when I realized this is when, as in I know this, but when I saw the second season of Pose, which was actually quite shitty, the season, but I like how they made it entirely about Madonna and voguing, and how a constant conversation throughout that season is how Madonna is putting voguing on the scene. And, a lot of people started relating. They could move bodily and musically kind of express. Boys could express how they are feeling. So the thrill was just different, back then. Now it's like, oh, are you a sad Lana Del Rey gay, or are you like a esoteric Lady Gaga gay, or are you like a softy acoustic heartbreak Taylor Swift gay? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Okay, I think these buckets always existed. It's just that these subcultures existed with different people. Like there was always a Whitney Houston gay brigade. There was always a Madonna,
Mariah Carey,
Mariah Carey gay brigade. Yeah, it's just that the people have changed. Then there was the Britney toxic gay brigade. So I feel like these have always.
I slightly differ only because again, back then your access to these things, to this music was also limited. You know what I mean? So whatever you got, you learned to appreciate. Am I making sense? Back then, if I got a tape of Madonna or Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or Michael Jackson, whatever it was music, and it was for the music, and I don't know. And now it's just,
but
now I have
why is it not about the music now? I mean, for me, honestly, all these, all of these artists that we are talking about, they are not purely musicians. They are performers. So it was always more than just, and especially in the queer arena, I don't think it is just about a particular musician. I think it is about the cult of personality, the kind of performance art that comes with it. For example, Lana Del Rey has a very sort of strongly sort of acquired personality that this like sort of slow-mo sort of diva,
somber,
somber.
Yeah.
So so it's more than just, it was never just about the music, and even with Madonna, it was never just about the music. Honestly, I think, I mean, she's not the best vocalist. I love her music, but she's
terrible.
She's not the best vocalist at all. So, but then her music is really fun. So because the experience was fun. So how is it different today? I mean, it is the same. It's just that you get...
It is. It's just now you have an option to like hop around. You know what I don't know. Again, back then, look at ABBA as an example, right? Unanimously loved by like a song like Dancing Queen. Yeah. It is so open to interpretation. It is loved by the straight people. It is loved by gay people. It is so open. But back then, everybody just appreciated it because now,
not everyone appreciated it. Like, I know.
okay, obviously,
people
I'm
who
not
really
saying there were
hate
like
it.
Ku Klux Klan guys who were like fucking burning shit while listening to ABBA. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that, I don't know. I sometimes felt like now you have the option. I felt like back then it was just about the music and what that music made you feel. I know I'm
No,
again trying
I
to think.
disagree with that. I disagree with that
Okay,
because
okay.
I'm genuinely, like, I'm generally talking about 90s onwards, okay?
Okay,
And
so okay. If you had to pick a stand, you're a Gaga.
I actually have a lot of people I stand. Like, I stand Bjork, for example.
Obviously.
I
Okay,
stand
okay.
Bjork. I stand. My first stan in life was Kylie Minogue. Like, that kind of like pop diva was Kylie
Yeah.
Minogue. And
Yeah.
again, the funny thing is that I didn't even know that she had a resonance. This is when I was, 14? And
Yeah.
Fever had just gotten released. So
Yeah.
I had never heard of this woman before, okay?
Yeah.
I live in Ranchi at that point of time. The
Yeah.
only access to international artists that I had was MTV and Channel V. So it, Can't Get You Out of My Head started topping charts, and then in the entertainment, oh my god, and in the entertainment segments of the the newspapers, people started writing about how Kylie Minogue had Spinning Around as it was a hit single, and then that sound just made sense to me, and then I realized that that timbre, that tone, that metal of music was something that I found really interesting, and that is what you can put a pin on it and say that's queer music, that dance music overall, which I didn't even know it was. And that's so funny because I gravitated towards a quintessentially queer music artist without knowing that this person was a queer musician, like queer music
that happens
artist.
to me still. Yeah.
Like Rufus Wainwright, for example.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh my God. I never.
Beautiful.
So I came to know Rufus Wainwright was gay after I discovered Rufus Wainwright on Grey's Anatomy. So you can imagine.
I was actually a Fiona Apple bitch in the 90s. I remember. Like,
I didn't even know who Fiona Apple was till I reached college, and my college friends kind of, gifted me a compilation CD with my kind of, very indie sort of music. And
exactly. See, that's what I was trying to. It's like, it's a journey in a way because with new disco back then in the 70s, 80s, Vogue culture, all of that, voguing and all of that. So you had an idea of, this is very like gay. Again, gay can't be a measure of music or anything, but there was a sense that, this has that bop or that beat or that kind of like vibe,
Yeah.
But the first time I actually related to someone without it being gay at all, the music itself, I felt that when it was Fiona Apple, Cranberries, a lot of times, I don't know, there were those, it just made me feel very like, now I'm like, I'm gay in a different way. Because even now, if you ask me, I am such a, first of all, huge fan of Selena Gomez. I'm a huge Selena. Like, I don't even know if I think they're called Selenators, or
no idea.
I don't know what the clan is called. Like Terminators, which is quite intense. But I'm a total Selena Gomez. But dude, I love Lana Del Rey. I love Taylor Swift. I love all of them. It's just, once I see all these clubs and like Instagram handles where there is a Del Rey and there's a Lovato and there's a this and all, I know, okay, it's like I'm here and this is my bucket that I exist in. I just felt like I wish everybody explored everything. And Beyonce, though, we are not even talking about so far, but so
Beyonce is someone I genuinely believe if someone says I hate Beyonce, then I'm gonna I'm going to question their taste
Or
in
everything
music.
exists, and then Beyonce is the ozone layer in which all of this exists.
Yeah, and especially I understand. I understand. Destiny's Child, but after
Even though, by the
Beyonce's
way,
launch, it's like Lemonade, and these visual albums, Black is King. If if you think she's not like par excellence, then boss, problem tere mein hai.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick break. And we'll be back. This became very music. Okay, we'll see you on the other side with more gay stereotypes. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, don't you think it's about time you started? We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I wanted to kind of just give a quick reminder to everybody. As I mentioned up top, we are doing our annual listener survey right now. If you could please go and take a couple of minutes out of your day and fill it out, we would really, really appreciate it. It's ivmpodcast.com/survey. If you're comfortable giving us your email address, we'll enter you into a random drawing, and we're going to be sending out swag to a bunch of randomly selected listeners. So do definitely get on board that train. Let me tell you a little bit about what we did on the network this week. We launched a new show called Zindagi Diaries with Ragini Kumar. Many of you might have seen Ragini on television during the IPL. She's a presenter, but she's showing a different side of herself over here with a poetry podcast. Give it a shot, give it a listen. Let me know what you all think. Vishal Gondal is back this week after a while. He's been on an extended break, but he has Rahul Narvekar for the first episode. Really interesting conversation. Do check it out. Raji Samant joins Gauri Devidayal on This Round Is On Me, the two talk about the wine business and what's going on there. We had a number of conversations about the Farmers Bill and the surrounding agitation this week on the network as well. Maruk Inayat had a great episode on the note. Pulya Bazi did a deep dive into the issues around this. And on Siders, we have our typical, fun conversation about this stuff with a little bit of a seriousness, a little bit of fun. Do check that out on Cock and Bull on Thursday last week. Akash Mehta joined us for that episode. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
And we are back. So... next stereotype. Why don't you take one?
Okay. I get this one a lot, and as in a lot of people tend to get surprised. So it's about one thing, but I'm going to make it a larger conversation, which is a lot of times when I tell boys that I'm playing video games, I get the what you play video games, and then by extension, gay boys don't play sports. That I feel is a stereotype that can be debunked. It's a black and white. It's not like in a gray zone.
Yeah.
I want to debunk that straight up because I know so many gamers, as they're called. And
it's a veritable subculture now. Like absolutely, it's a massive subculture.
Yeah, and I feel it's a very. I don't know. I guess it has something to, again, entirely my perception, but I think it has something to do with self-expression and how much you were able to express yourself in the year that you were born in or the times you were born in. Because I feel what happened was I've noticed a lot of my friends who are the 30 plus friends, I'm talking about my gay friends, yeah? Some of them are into football. They watch all the football matches. They watch all the F1 races. They do all of that. So that immediately whenever I hear gay guys don't watch sports, I'm a little like, because I myself don't watch any sport. Yeah. But I'm like, no, all my friends watch sports. Some of my friends even play sports. Like they actively take time out to play squash or like tennis and football every week. And I'm like, wow, that's great. So that's one. Do you have anything to add to that? Like, do you watch, play, anything?
No, so I don't watch any kind of sports. Like, I'm not interested at all. But I love swimming and I love cycling. So those are the two things that I absolutely love doing. Okay. But I feel like the stereotype sort of is it stems from straight, hot, testosterone-laden aggression sort of a culture, which a lot of gay men don't feel comfortable in because they feel they are the other in that environment. And hence, we kind of remove ourselves from those kind of situations. That's probably one of the reasons why a lot of, again, this is another added stereotype and, on why so many gay men hate cricket. And I can answer for myself. I dislike cricket because that used to be a bone of contention while growing up, that why the fuck are you doing A, but not playing cricket. So it could be I'm, watching a fashion show, or I am painting. Why am I painting and not playing cricket? Why am I writing a story and not playing cricket? And as a result of that, there is like this subconscious sort of, hatred towards this game that represented the time of, almost a visual representation of oppression. And so,
And that blended with like everything that all the words we usually use, which is patriarchy, and you're supposed to play sports, and you're supposed to be manly, and you're supposed to this. God, I think about how the fuck was I a karate? Like I was a high belt in karate. I wasn't a black belt. I was like, fuck, who the fuck was that guy? Like, oh my God, hata! Like, what the fuck? But can I saw a fantastic TikTok recently, and it was one of those long TikToks, but basically she debunked this girl. She talks about how a thing like gaydar and all these stereotypes that exist actually only exist because they are not very close to everything. The center of this universe of stereotypes and things like that is in comparison to what is the heterosexual norm, right? So, for example,
if you don't, that a little more.
I'll get into it. So, for example, if you sit a certain way in a chair, you don't sit like a man. So, in the end, if you start looking at, so for example, sports, right? We are being, this guy must be gay because he doesn't like sports, or he's a little effeminate. But actually, it all boils down to a person actually just making an observation that you are not heterosexual enough. And if you start applying that, you start realizing that at the base level of everything is in comparison to heterosexuality, or what heteronormativity, or what.
I mean, there are so many stereotypes about straight men also. Like they can't do two things at a time. Like I think there are a lot of disparaging straight men stereotypes also.
See, but I'm saying in our case, why it can also be mildly triggering, like you said, right? Sports, for example.
I agree.
We had to go through that our entire lives because we were not being a certain way which is considered the norm a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sitting or moving your hands, or your voice is too high pitched, or you are. It all boils down to actually in comparison to what the idea of a man is, or a strong man is. Boys don't cry, and this and all the stuff that we are told constantly is just in comparison to what this illusory strong man is supposed to be. And everything falls at varying degrees from that. And probably after this conversation, I'll send it to you. But
I'd love to see it. Yeah,
it's a fantastic and a very valid, and it literally debunks almost every stereotype that you can think of. Because when you boil down, again, when you crystallize any stereotype, it boils down to you not being straight enough, or you not being heterosexual enough.
Yeah.
So that's one. I want to get to the meaty one, because I know me and you are entirely different than that. Gay men love fashion. I already know we are on entirely parallel tracks.
Entirely. I mean, I think we had an entire episode on this, but like I do see both sides of the stereotype, to be honest. And however, I want to ask a question where is and I'm going to be a little devil wears Prada here, but even there are a lot of gay men who choose to not be like la-di-da in terms of fashion, and choose to be very unostentatious. But this choice of being unostentatious, is that a deliberate choice to kind of step away from the stereotype, and is that a choice in itself, where I am sort of making a choice?
I'm sure
not
that
to
exists.
Be part of the stereotype.
I'm sure that exists, but obviously, again, as in for me, if you ask me, it's something I just like you just said, right? You don't care about sports. I literally feel like we're about fashion sometimes. I really, especially on these Oscar day, Oscar and Emmys and Met Gala and all these elaborate discussions online. And I'm like, it doesn't titillate me or like in any. Yeah, I love looks and I love, oh my, what's his name? The beautiful boy who did that weird illusion face. What's his name, man?
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep an eye. I know what's his name, the guy from Pose. I know what he does every year. Like over the top, as in you can't avoid these things. And I have an opinion in my head. But if these are not shared online, I actually wouldn't actively look up fashion or read fashion magazines or like. So a lot of times I do feel out of place within the community sometimes when it becomes like a very, like, because I'm like, yeah, you know me, and I know you a little, which is why I love that we both are entirely different on this one topic. We actually did F for fashion, right?
Yeah,
as an episode. But I just feel like as a stereotype, sometimes I feel it's mildly damaging. Or it's irksome. It's not even damaging.
I'll tell you, and I'll tell you where I totally agree with you, and I do agree that it can be damaging because somewhere down the line, I think a lot within a lot of men, is queer men, fashion becomes almost a qualifier. That if you're well dressed, then you're then you're as a person well put together. And for me, that is not okay. That you cannot conflate the two. You cannot bring these two together. For example, okay, so you know what I was talking about in terms of actively rejecting a stereotype in your own way. Even within fashion, I try and do that. I'll tell you how. Within gay men, there is also this whole obsession with designers and understanding and almost stating, I'm wearing so and so. I know I know my designers. I know who. Like, it's just a field that I'm very interested in. I somehow can't bring myself to be a person who likes designer wear. Like and for me, like it's so important to not have.
And you're someone who creates your own style.
Exactly.
So you can't subscribe to one designer.
Exactly. So for me, it is always about a pastiche of putting things together. And I am the star of my mannequin and not one piece. And that piece is never going to be larger than me. So I actively reject the idea of, so-and-so design. And because for me, it's, like I said, that can never be a measure of, how expensive your bag is or how expensive your shoes are cannot be a measure of how good it looks. So,
Dude, I think I said this to you before, but there is a type of crab called a decorator crab. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, you just have to watch YouTube videos.
Yeah. They're like these really cute.
Yeah, they pick up like shiny objects on the seafloor.
Yeah.
And I always, whenever I see you, I just feel like you're such a decorator crab. Like, your jacket will be something and your accessories will be something. And I know immediately looking at you, it's not like your head to toe Sabyasachi. You know what I mean? You've got something from here, something from there. Your boots are from here, your jeans are from there. You've got such a vibe. And I really value and appreciate that so much about you because I don't even have an iota of that.
And that's okay. That's absolutely fine.
But a lot of times,
for everyone, I just want to say,
I have got the occasional like, why do you only have black t-shirts? You're not gay at all. And I'm like,
even I made fun of your shoes, but then you asked me.
Yeah.
You asked me. I would have said anything. Tell me about my shoes. And I was like, they are
Can I tell you something? And I'll tell you where it hurts, okay? Yours was cute. It was adorable when you pulled. I love someone pulling my leg. I love. Yeah. But I remember there was this one time I had busted my toenail. Like, it actually popped out. Okay. And my friends wanted to go clubbing. Okay. And they decided to choose a place. Okay. Which obviously wouldn't allow shoes. Okay. So I was like, I don't want to go, guys, because, they'll do the whole, sorry, only shoes and all of that. So my friend was like, listen, I'm going to call the club beforehand and I'm going to tell them that my friend has this issue. Is it okay? And they said, sure, we'll accommodate. That's what they said. I think this was at the Hyatt in Kalina, okay? So I actually wore one shoe, okay? And in one leg, I wore one of those strap-on, what are they called? I hate the word floaters, but like...
Keto.
Huh? What are they called?
Keto.
Keto?
No, I mean in
diet.
No, Ari. So in East India, I don't know whether it ever caught on in your part of town. But in East India, we used to call floaters keto chappal.
Floaters. So I wore ek pair mein juta, ek pair mein floaters, just so that they would understand that this person is not a crazy person. Obviously, there's a reason word, and they let me in. Great, right? Now the funny thing is, once I'm in there, right? A group of gay boys that I know personally, okay, also decided to go to the club the same night, okay? And first of all, they noticed, when I went up to say hi and stuff, one guy too very obviously there in the, oh my God, you're feeling adventurous today, huh?
Oh my good Lord.
And there's when you look down, right? Literally, you can see a blue, like a red, pulpy, open, like, I had not even bandaged it. Like, it was just about healing and it was just pink, okay? So, I'm like, I busted a toenail, so I can't wear shoes for a while. Otherwise, I'll get an ingrown nail. And that group made that joke for such a long time, Or I once even heard from someone else, oh, don't wear floaters and come. And I was like, God, that's a little... it's not mean, and I know you don't mean to, but I hope it's a little mean. I was like that in my head. So sometimes when I'm again, if someone who's listening and they don't feel fashionably, what's the word? Fashionably, fashion
whatever, inclined, fashion inclined. Please, that's fine. Absolutely fine.
So okay. It's so okay to be that person because I feel very out of place sometimes because of that. And I'll give you another example. I have a friend who he's not very well off, but he's really into nudity and like he posts a lot of nudity online and stuff. And a lot of gay boys follow this boy because obviously he posts a lot of nudes and and one day he put up a picture of him in one of those macho underwears. You know what I mean? Not like Calvin Klein or like Aussie Bum or whatever. He just had like, and okay, visually it was unappealing to look at, sure. But that's the underwear he decided to wear. Dude, I'm not kidding. So many boys sent me that in my inbox with the intention of making fun. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Instantly because he decided to wear macho underwear instead of like some fucking Marc Jacobs chaddi. I don't know. So like, I don't even know if Marc Jacobs makes chaddis, but you know what I mean? Sometimes when it becomes that, then I'm like,
that's what I meant, That's what I meant. When fashion becomes part of your status, and when you conflate it with status, that is what I find toxic. That is absolute. Let fashion be, let what you wear be your expression or not. It's like see, fashion, the way I look at style, and I hate calling it fashion, I call it style. The way I look at sartorial style is the way I look at creative writing. Not everyone likes to write creatively. I write poetry, I write prose, but not everyone does. I do it because it's an outlet.
Bros before bros.
And I use that because it's an outlet for me, but it needn't be an outlet for everyone. But people can write Facebook statuses, but that doesn't mean I end up judging everyone's status from a yardstick of whether this person is this person a poet? That's the same thing. Like what kind of a standard are we holding everyone to, where honestly, like you hold someone, where does it stop? Then, you can be judged, and obviously this is all very relative. You will be on someone's worst dressed list on any given day.
This is one of the reasons I think I took a while. I in the end did end up watching it and I did end up enjoying it. But this is one of the reasons it took me so long to actually like RuPaul's Drag Race, now that I look back on it. Because I don't like this bringing someone else down to be better in any way. In any kind of competition or any sort of I don't know. Which I kind of, once I put that aside, then I could enjoy the show. But I felt like that, because this diss culture, like constant dissing someone and like, oh my God, your eyelashes and your hair and your clothes and your this is so gross. I don't, wow, the more we talk about stereotypes, I suddenly feel like, holy shit, we might be running out of time and I want to touch on so many other stereotypes.
Yeah. I think we should talk about RuPaul's Drag Race too, right after.
Yeah, that's the separate episode. Okay, I got a quick one. Basically, gay equal to, if you're gay, you're destined or doomed to end up alone, and you are doomed to never be in a relationship that will require a lot of work. Like gay relationships, they are, to me.
Okay, I'm going to call bullshit on that right up, and I don't mean like bullshit to you. I just see I know that stereotype exists, that 100% exists. It's just that with our understand this, we as and this is not just straight, this is not just gay men, it's queer people, or more often than not, and queer men more often than not, queer masculine, I think I actually wouldn't even conflate these two. I think the queer community generally definitely has more challenges in terms of relationships, because we as a community face more challenges. So it's not like relationships are easy on the straight side and they're difficult on the queer side. Let's taste the coffee on the other side. I mean, have we seen how relationships work? Please. They're crumbling down. But at the same time, here's my view of how things work. I do feel like as queer people, if we set our mind to it, we are also, if we want to, we are also a lot more individualistic. We are also a lot more self-sufficient. We get self-sufficient over time. And as a result of that, that's something we have to kind of make peace with, in terms of not...
And more often than not, we have to fight for it and struggle for that.
Yes. And once we get it, we kind of, we are very protective about it. And once a relationship comes into the fore, we have to make a very calculated decision of accommodating someone else into our lives. And that is a struggle. I won't lie. That is definitely a struggle, but that's a good struggle to have. That is definitely a good struggle to have. But I mean, honestly, other than this, if we have ABC issues in terms of, that sort of, pop out at us when it comes to our plethora of relationships, so does the other side.
No, and
so
for me, right? See, I'll tell you what, this is something, as a stereotype, I entirely feel is not true, because again, it's like body positivity. There are times that I'm ultra in love with my body and I'm like perfectly fine with myself. And then there are times that I hate my body and I'm not okay with it, right? I feel that happens with this particular stereotype too, where on one level, I constantly feel like I don't need anyone. I'm totally fine, self-sufficient. I'm totally independent. I can survive on my own. And then there are times where I feel like, holy shit, like it's so bad out there and hookup culture is so fuck all and gay boys are so fuck all, that I subscribe to that stereotype sometimes, where you are never going to, like, the way people are and the way boys are and the way things are and the way everything is, you're not going to. But very random, out of left field kind of example, but I felt like sometimes a potent message comes in the form of a show like Schitt's Creek, which shakes your foundation a bit. And ever since I saw Schitt's Creek, it felt so organic to watch that. It did not seem forced. For the first time, we were seeing a representation that is unlike the doomed, troublesome gay couple who are in trouble all the time. It was just a pure... And just to know that is, even if it's in a fictional TV show, it just felt so natural and nice and hopeful to watch that. And I know that exists. Even though... And what makes it more beautiful is the type of character David is. He is a pessimist. He is negative. Yeah. He is very like, And then there is your, who's not accepted. He's kind of coming out. He's not fully sure if he's gay or not, his boyfriend. I just love that dynamic so much. But a lot of times when I sit in therapy, my therapist very casually tends to say that, why do you think you won't find someone? And I genuinely have 20 things under my belt to throw in his direction, right? Like, oh my God, gay boys can't be, they're so promiscuous. And the same things that are problematic to me at other times, I tend to subscribe to those same things myself sometimes in my darker moments, you know? So it's like a, you know, slalom, like, it's like a slippery ski ride, you know? Like, ye side pe chala hai to zyada slippery hai, ye side pe chala hai to thoda stable hai. So it depends on how you zigzag through these lines, basically.
I do feel like I need to, you know, first and foremost, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to people, we cannot expect people to kind of reach out to us all the time if we don't make an effort. And I think that's a fact. Like, that's a fact and that's something I've learned the hard way over time through therapy, that you have to put in, if you expect something out of people, you can't expect them to telepathically know that. And that's, again, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Now, while I say that, it's also extremely important. And I just want to leave this message for people who are listening to us, that we should aim better in terms of the kind of people we want to be and the way we treat other people. We should aim to be more civil to people. And I think there is so much pointless hatred. Like this whole, I think it's cool, like, you know, this whole cool to be snappy and cool to be sarcastic. That's something I've kind of come to really despise. There was this trend in the middle of people putting up Grindr sort of chats where they would actively insult someone, you know, and it became like a badge of honor. And it would burn me up, because I'm like, what the fuck is that? I have a
friend who does that, and I actually had to sit him down and tell him to stop doing that. Because
I'm glad
there are funny Grindr chats. Funny Grindr chats,
yeah, sure,
which are a part of meme culture. You know? So I share so many of those, but they are never like mean. And some gay guys get it wrong, and they think like putting someone else down because their English was bad, or because they were like,
making fun of grammar.
They were misinterpreted by you, and then you think you are being funny by sharing that. I just feel that's a very dick move. It's awful. I have a quick one for straight boys and straight girls. If any of them listen to our show, a stereotype. Yeah. That gay boys don't want to sleep with straight guys all the time, and that gay boys don't want to be a straight girl's best friend.
Oh my God. Thank God. It needed to be said, because
I know, right?
Okay. So
you don't need to delve into the gay guy, the straight guys that much, because we don't want to give them too much vow. And secondly,
I want to talk about the straight girls' weight. Straight girls' weight, because you know, it's extremely important for straight women, and I mean this with all the respect. I know that a lot of straight women mean no harm, but you have to realize that it's important not to treat gay men as pets. It's important not to
hi sister.
It's important that, you know, you don't consider gay men as a side character in your sitcom, you know, because a large majority of times someone engages a gay man and would like, I remember when I was in college, there were these girls who would say, my aim in life is to have a gay best friend. And I was like, please. And you want to be an ally, be an equal. Don't try and bring this gay best friend.
I don't want to be an asshole. I know you just said don't be sarcastic and all. But be interesting. I would be friends with anyone who's fucking fun to be with.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But just, you know, there is this...
here's the
prowess.
It's commenting and complimenting someone's looks and shoes does not make you a qualified gay best friend. I just
Yeah,
want to put it
man.
out there because I get that a lot in terms of, oh, I love what you're wearing. And then this happens to me in nightclubs so much. And
Yeah.
I find that frankly a little insulting at times. Sure, a compliment is great. But then to think that they'll kind of, they cross a lot of boundaries. Are you looking for someone here? Are you going to hook up? I'm like, I am not on those terms with you. Please don't do that.
I have a gay friend. You have to meet him. That's the never worked
oh
for me.
my
Oh my
geez.
God. That's never worked for me.
Never. Ever.
And it's it just, whenever they say that, like a girl says, oh, I have a gay friend. You have to meet him. There is no way that you don't come out as the asshole in this situation.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there's a good chance that you are not going to get along with this guy just because he's gay, because you have like 50,000 gay guys that you're friends with. And more often than not, I've noticed the gay guy on the other end is basically someone who's not out, but he confided in some girl at some point. And now she wants to thopo him on me. Yo, I'm not going to do the work here. Luck tere paas, friend. But should I sound like an asshole? But it happens so many times and it really grinds my gears. Especially that one line that you said, no, oh my God, are you going to hook up with someone? Are you going to meet someone? I'm like, calm the fuck down,
No, sir, I'll narrate an incident which kind of, I actually fell out with not a friend, but an acquaintance. So this was at a very close friend's wedding. And so this is like at her wedding, there was another acquaintance, common acquaintance. Okay. And so this was in Goa, we were all staying at the hotel and stuff. And I knew someone at the hotel. So on the cocktail day, I kind of, I said, I'm going to be back. And I ended up making out, like I went to that person's room, made out and came back. And people like, two of my friends could figure that I've gone made out because I was a little flushed and all of that. And so they were just like, oh my God, are you serious? You just did that? I was like, yeah, I needed it. So because whatever. And she overheard, and that was fine, except that later on at night, she starts telling that story at a table. Yeah. And I was like, you do not have the right to do that. Did I volunteer this information to you? That means that it's not like I'm secretive about it, but it's also not that I'm going to shout out from the rooftops. And that was just so fucking tone deaf, It's just, I think that was, again, a moment where I was like, this person just, I cannot.
Yeah, and we are talking about like from a straight, most of our stereotypes, if you think about, they're from a straight point of view. Again, because the main differentiator of what makes someone straight or gay is that you are not heterosexual enough or to match up to that. But I have to say that we are not even getting into the mass gay, femme gay conversation because there are so many stereotypes within
that requires an entire episode.
Yeah, right? Within the community that are wrongly reinforced by us only so many times,
Absolutely.
In fact, you won't believe it. In that, I think our second last episode, I spoke about how I once got fucked by a femboy and it was one of the best, fucks of my life. Yeah. But someone actually had the nerve to message me and say that it felt good because you've not been fucked by a masculine enough guy yet. He actually
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding. And this is a gay boy telling me that. Like, he was trying to prove his masculinity to me by telling me that, oh, I liked sex with a femboy so much because he wasn't masculine enough. And I was like, this is wrong on so many levels that I don't even know. But man, I don't know. That would not even be a separate episode. We'll have to do a separate show for that.
Sure, seriously.
But I guess, do you have any more stereotypes?
No, I think we can wrap it up. But I just want to say, I think in the spirit of keeping things light, the number and happy, the number of end of the year, Spotify lists that we have shown up on, it just so heartening. I am so...
Thank you so much. Midway episode, I was like, fuck, we should have brought that up in the start. Yeah.
I know, but I just want to say, like, I know I haven't put all of them on my stories, but it's so. Thank you.
I felt so bad. Can I tell you why?
Sending it. Why?
Some people listen to GAYBCD more than I do. Because it tells you, oh, you've listened to this episode for 39 hours, and on some days you heard this episode for 4 hours straight. And I'm like, fuck, even I don't do that. And there are listeners who do that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was a great day. I really, in my head,
felt so good. It felt so good.
Thanks, Spotify. And thanks to our listeners who do that.
Yeah.
And I guess, that's it for this week.
That's it. Yeah.
I want to sign off with, I had a very open aunt once, like open in terms of she was kind of like the person I would kind of say that I'm into boys, and I would identify. This is in a phase where I would identify as bisexual, and then I then I started dating boys very late in life. Yeah. And she said, so got any boyfriends or girlfriends? And suddenly I said, I have a boyfriend. And she asked me, you're still bisexual or are you gay now? And I started stuttering because I myself did not know how to answer that question, And I'll never forget, she immediately stopped me while stuttering and she realized her question was stupid. And I'll never forget something she said, which is, Farhad, labels are like for jars and boxes. They're not for people. They're only for objects.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great way to sum up this episode because stereotypes are forms of labels. And literally, again, labels are for fucking objects. They're not for people. You can be what the fuck you want to be. You can do what the fuck you want to do. And if people stereotype you for it, it's their problem. It's not your fucking problem.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much it.
Beautiful note to end on.
Thanks, Sunetro.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll see you next week with a different topic. And thanks everybody for listening to us. This is it from us. Bye.
Bye.
What are some of the radical changes that are now shaping our workspace? With physical distancing and heightened safety protocols being the norm, will technology finally make its large-scale entry to the workspace? Will design as we know it change for the long term? Is it possible for the Indian commercial real estate space to adopt a 360-degree approach to sustainability? Join our hosts at the Future of Space podcast by RMZ as we deliberate with industry leaders, analysts, and bright young minds on the way forward for the workspace given the new COVID normal. Tune in to the IVM Podcasts app or wherever you stream your favorite podcasts.
जिंदगी डायरीज के पन्नों में कुछ पुरानी यादें, समुंदर किनारे झूमते दरख्त, जवान दिल की धड़कनें और अनजान मुलाकातें हैं। तो आइए खोलिए मेरे साथ जिंदगी डायरी के पन्ने और साथ ही एक साथ खुलकर जीते हैं जिंदगी। आप सुन सकते हैं जिंदगी डायरीज IVM पॉडकास्ट ऐप या वेबसाइट पर या जहां कहीं से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो।